You know what the crazy thing is? All of the things that, say, Israel and Alex have, you have as well. They don't have anything that's particularly special about them. The only thing that they've done that you haven't is that they've established a very, very clear vision in their mind, and they've said, yes, I want to achieve this. And they've come up with a game plan with how they consistently can do that, not just for days, months, but for years. And that last little bit when we're in the sauna, there's something that happens with Israel. Something that happens in his eyes, and he becomes this different person. Every single time he looks up, he's coming out. This guy's coming out. Whatever he's going through, it grows. It's like this physical change, and he starts talking in his native language, and the music he plays is different. He's gone from being this person that has just done this fight camp and is cutting weight into he is the last style bender, and he's got to fight for this world championship.
People do get very mentally attached to either foods they can or can't eat, or certain diets, or food it does seem like quite an emotional thing. I think we spoke about this a little bit last time as well.
And I think more than anything, and I've thought about this lots, I've been doing this 10 years, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and it's I think in a physiological sense, we are the food that we eat.
Yeah, literally.
The food that we eat literally breaks down and builds our bodies. And in maybe, this might not be as physiologically sound. Probably some scientists listening to this going, what's this going on about? But it literally breaks down, and it's like our DNA, right? And it builds everything in us. So I think it's right to assume that the food that you eat is going to form some part of your identity of yourself.
Yeah.
Because if I eat this way and I feel really good and I can go do these things, then that should be the same for you, because I feel so good and I can do all of these things because this type of way of eating, this composition of ratio of macros makes me feel awesome.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about biology is that there's not, unless you're a twin, there's not one other person on this planet that has the same genetic makeup, that is the same person of you. And when you multiply that over billions of people across the earth, there's a lot of genetic variation and a lot of things that will change whether that composition of food is right for you. And that's essentially my job, right?
Yeah.
Is going, I know what these things are. I need to figure out what composition is best for Jace or Susan in accounts or Timmy over here. I need to figure that out. But because it's such a personal thing, we do it 3 to 5 times a day. We sit down, we prepare our food, we put it in our mouth, and then we have an immediate feeling. Do I feel good? Do I feel crappy? Yeah. It might feel initially pretty good smashing the KFC straight after the race on Sunday. Yeah. But you know the feeling straight after, you're like, man, regrets.
Yeah.
Or if you have that nice big healthy meal, you feel good. Yeah. Or if you go on the mats and you've eaten really well and you just burn through people, you know what that feels like. And that's why I feel like people get so bought into it, because they get so convinced of how the food makes them feel that they feel the need. And it's probably, to be honest, it's not necessarily a negative thing. They're just trying to help people. I want other people to feel the way that I'm feeling. And this food has played such a big part of how I'm feeling, how I'm performing, how I'm showing up every day. And I want you to feel that as well. So you should eat like this.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work. Most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah. Because
that's a very subjective way to look at it. And science is a very objective thing.
And people are at different starting points too, you're probably you'd be like a elite athlete of eating, essentially, the way that you look after your nutrition. But it's in the same way that there's white belts in jiu-jitsu and black belts, that black belt's been there for 10 years. Over time, there's been such a drastic change, people have very different points at the start as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying earlier, there's that 5-year progression. Think of white belt to, purple belt at jiu-jitsu. You're doing arm bars and triangles and omoplatas and all of these things the exact
you're
same.
Unrecognizable person.
Yeah, but you did all that at white belt, and you're doing it all the same stuff at purple belt.
Yeah.
You just, those tiny little details and how efficient you are. It's the same with your diet. I understand that there's a certain way that I need to eat for the activity that I'm doing. I'm still finding things and I'm going, man, if I tweak this, I feel awesome and I feel great. I won't talk about that though, because I know for Israel, it's a completely different thing. I know for Alex, he has an entirely different diet compared to him. And then I look at Leon Edwards, best champion in the UK's history, has an entirely different diet itself.
Yeah.
And that's my job, is figuring out what are these things within these compositions, these different macros. I need to appreciate the science and the physiology objectively for what each of these are doing in their body. I just need to understand that science.
Yeah.
But then I need to kind of subjectively talk to that person and figure out what's best for them. Subjectively, how they're feeling. And then with my job in high performance, objectively, what numbers are you putting out?
Yeah.
Because there will be a correlation. And that's the thing. It's like you're playing Sherlock Holmes and you need to find that correlation. That's just very, 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 very difficult for the everyday person to do when you don't have the knowledge of, hey, I know exactly what carbohydrates are. I know what they do in my body. I know what protein is. I know
how I feel.
I know,
this.
What
like
are you
you've got
even
years
looking
of
for?
Data personally,
And like you were talking about earlier, you've got years of habits formed and you've got years of these own cognitive biases that you've created. So you've got all of these things. And that's why I'm saying when we have this conversation, when people come in, this is a 5-year process. You're at white belt, you got to get to at least purple, brown belt before you're going to make any progress with this. And that's very, very difficult. But it's because you have all these other things. You have this identity with food, and it's very, very difficult to change pretty much polar opposite those habits. It just takes so long. And I think again, coming back to today's world where it's instant gratification, that's a very, very tough thing to get across. And I think this is an interesting point that I find so much inspiration from guys when they come in, just everyday guys, when they are able to do that compared to when I see the world champion athletes or elite level top millionaire business people, because those guys have spent years building other habits that support this habit and can make it a bit easier. These guys are going from pretty much everything pointing left and we need it pointing right.
Yeah.
And every single day, it's hard. They're in that discipline phase. They're in that phase where this just absolutely sucks. Like meal prepping for them sucks. Shopping sucks. Like they have to think so hard about what type of foods they've got to eat and how do they change that every day. And then they've got to meet with me and understand the science of it. And they're trying to wrap their head around all of that. And then this guy keeps talking about sleep and stress and hydration, all these other things. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yet they show up every day and they do it. And then when you see that over a 12-month period, an 18-month, and you see that real change, it's like, they've gone from white belt to blue belt, and then they're getting like a good blue belt. And you're like, man, you're rocking it. And that's not easy to do. Going from purple belt to brown belt is a lot easier than going from couch to white belt. Way harder. And it's like, those guys are very inspiring to see it. And I guess, again, coming full circle, like that original question with the business now, I think that's what I'm understanding being around all these high elite performance people, is that how do you create an environment that is conducive to getting someone from couch to white belt? Because at the end of the day, Jace, you know what you need to eat. Deep down, you know what you need to eat. You know.
Every time I order a quarter pounder with extra pickles, a Coke and a medium fries, I know I should be doing something different.
And you know you need to sleep. You don't need your Garmin to tell you that. You know getting up and going for a run is good for you. You know you're going to feel better after it. But why is it that we have these reservations? And that comes back to this pink elephant, where it's a holistic approach and you can't just focus on the one thing. You've got to address all these things. And then it's the next conversation is, what are all these elite level teams doing? Because they've got something going on that's consistently creating these top level athletes or coaches or business people or these firms that are creating these
system creates
there's
these
a
results.
system that's doing that.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com. packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.